Hello, welcome to the Makers Making Podcast, episode number 39. Summer's almost over, folks. Kids went back to school this week. They didn't go back to school this week. They'll be going back to school within the next 2 weeks, where you are most likely, unless you're in the Southern Hemisphere, like our Aussie friends. Uh, Martin, how's it going tonight? Uh, but with people going back to school, with the kids going back to school, folks are going to start slowing down, start doing things around the house. They're not going to be out for adventures. And inevitably, that ends up with more people doing 3D printing stuff coming into the hobby. News of releases for Christmas and all that kind of stuff. But speaking of news, a couple small updates to start off the evening. Um, we've got the Bondtech Index debacle comes to some sort of conclusion. Whether or not you're happy with it doesn't really matter. It is what it is. Folks were given the couple different options. They could take partial uh, refund in the form of either cash or store credit, uh, or they could just return it outright for a full refund. Um, if you bought the index and you've got an issue with the nozzles and their hardness, would they give you something like the end of September, something like 6 weeks to figure out what you wanted to do? Or beyond that, they're just going to consider the matter closed. Don't quote me on the date, though. I don't know. Uh, so it is what it is. You're either happy, you're not happy. Doesn't matter. It is what it is. Uh, and then the second update we got is the California.
Well, do you want to
Well,
talk
first,
about?
first, first, let me get you guys' thoughts on the index thing. What do you guys think? Do you guys have thoughts on it?
I don't think it's enough because why? If I was promised harder nozzles, why should I be having to pay again for harder nozzles? Because they should give you the option. Okay, ship back these nozzles, the current nozzles, and wait for the harder nozzles. That would be a better remedy to me.
Yeah. I I don't know. It's just like I said. It is what it is at this point. It doesn't really matter whether.
I think I'm on board with that. I'm looking at least the news here, and it's either if you got the four nozzle, you can choose $80 in store credit or $60 cash. I'm assuming no matter what, you're going to keep the nozzles. Um, it is my assumption that $80 is going to buy you four nozzles in credit. Um, I if that's the case, right? I think instead of the reason I think they're giving the store credit is because they don't have the nozzles and they're not going to get them anytime soon. Uh,
Which kind of makes sense. I mean, you look at
I
how
don't.
long it took Snapmaker to release their harder nozzles for the U1. I mean, those things didn't come in stock till April.
right, and so it puts everyone's in a bind here, right? So it was very. I mean, I did not pull the trigger on Index when it came out. I wasn't a founder, but after it first was shipped, I'm like, oh, let me take a look at it again, and I couldn't understand whether it was a true hard nozzle or a bronze, just like a brass nozzle, and it was very confusing. And so I think a lot of this is on Bondtech's shoulders for how they marketed it. They weren't clear, and people bought under this confusion. The remedy, though, I'm not necessarily happy with it. Right? I would say a better option would be, okay, you can either choose a credit, cash, or you get put first on the list for when hardened nozzles come out, and we'll ship those to you free. Like there's not an option. It looks like to get hardened nozzles, and no one's going to ask for these nozzles to be shipped back either, because it's going to cost Bondtech money, and there's nothing they can do with them because they're all effectively used at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I think let the people keep, like as they did. That's probably why they're letting people keep them. But I do think there should be a, you know, keep your store credit, keep your cash. We'll just replace them straight out, and you get put on the queue and you get put on the list. I think that's missing in their whatever you want to call it, recall or whatever it is.
Bergman said they announced this morning that E3D will be manufacturing and supplying the hardened nozzles, which makes sense. And also, I think that they maybe should have thought of that. I don't know, 2 years ago when this entered into R&D. Like, hey, who can make these for us?
Well, I mean, do we know if the nozzles were they originally designed by E3D?
I don't believe so. I believe they were being made
Fully
themselves.
in-house at Bondtech?
That was the impression I got.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. As I say, it is an impression. It's not, but
Well, my
yeah,
question then becomes: is it going to be an obsidian nozzle, which I would say is a equivalent to a hardened nozzle, or is it going to be a true hardened nozzle? Like what? I'm glad they're working with E3D on this, but
yeah.
I still have questions, and I don't know what the answers are. Right? I don't know, but I
Yeah.
do. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I do think that a full replacement. It may take some time, right? It may take a year, um,
Mm-hmm.
but a full replacement should be one of the things on the table.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. If it was me and I had ordered it and I had ordered it with the intention on printing abrasives, which I would have a lot of. It's not everything I print, but it is some of what I print. Uh, is abrasives. How much of that is multicolor and abrasive? I don't know,
I
but
don't think it matters.
I would not gamble on those nozzles ever coming to market. I would assess the situation based on what's in front of me today and say, how important is this to me? Um, and at this point, people have investment into it. They've installed it on their machines, right? Uh, they've, you know, taken that time. It would be time to undo it, to pack it up, and to ship it back. Um, so I think a lot of people are going to end up opting for just taking some credit and moving on.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm in agreement with that one. That's
yeah,
of the options, either the credit or the cash,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
and you might just take the cash and buy something else with it. Because
because
you're not gonna buy Prusa filament or Bondtech filament because the shipping cost on that's gonna be ridiculous. Unless they allow you to do it through also spend that money at printed solid.
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
Bill
this
says
is
they
still
are hard. They just don't last as long. Yeah, it depends on what kind of abrasive filaments you're working with too.
well. I mean, you could say brass can work with abrasives, right? I can run abrasives through brass. It's just not going to last as long. I can get through a kilo and a half of glow in the dark on a brass, and then it doesn't work
I've
anymore.
worn out. I mean, I've got a tungsten nozzle that I wore out.
That's impressive.
Everything wears. It just is what
That's
it
true.
is. They're at the end of the day, nozzles are consumable, right? Um, I think
Yeah, but it's a level of consumability.
no, I agree. I agree that the situation's messed up for people that ordered it. They didn't get what they thought they were buying. Um, it's better than a lot of Kickstarters where you never get anything. But um,
Yeah.
you know, uh, and yes, there's other issues involved with index system other than just the nozzles. So you take all that into consideration. I just know that for me, if I had it and it was on my printer, I'd take the money, put it into a project. Um, Unless that's your only printer and you have to print
I don't think it's anybody's
abrasives.
only printer. I mean, if you
Yeah.
But
were just the amount of weight you'd have to do for the index, you wouldn't have. It wouldn't be your only printer.
no,
Yeah.
I'd probably take the money, to be honest with you. If I had one, I'd probably take the money. But I
Bill
do
says
think,
apparently there is an option. You can just wait for hard nozzles.
no, then that's if that's an option,
Will they give
then
them to you for free though?
including
Is that
shipping.
you can opt to wait for these, and we will get them to your door at no cost to you when they're available.
You know, I think they will deliver. I wouldn't be worried about not getting them. I would only be worried about the time frame, like how
I'm less
long.
worried. I'm less worried if E3D is involved in making the nozzle.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get it. If they said they're going to do it, they're going to do it. I trust those guys.
Yeah, I mean this. They seem like straightforward, honest people. The two times I've met them,
Yeah.
if a little bit European in mannerisms and culture,
I mean,
but
they're British. They're not going to act like Americans.
no, I'm talking about the Bondtech folks. The E3D people
Oh,
were awesome. I love those guys.
those guys. That's who I was talking about. Those guys are fun. Oh,
Well, I
I
mean,
love
I
hanging
think
out with
Brad brings up a better point, which is you return the whole thing until they no longer retain the heater coils with something that gases toxic fumes. I think that's actually a bigger problem
them. Long
that we really
term,
haven't been
yeah.
talking
Yeah. Um. I don't. I I don't like this how that's put together in any way, shape, or form. And that you could use the nozzle thing if you were concerned about it. You could use the nozzle thing as an excuse to return it because of your concerns about that. There's no questions asked. It's just like, yeah, I want to return it and give my money back under this situation.
You know this. I don't know if you guys put it in the show notes, but it does bring up an interesting question, right? All these companies, Bondtech, E3D, they're already kind of intertwined with each other through patents, licensing with each other. Would there be a potential for a merger between the two? Could you see that?
Well, I don't know, but Bontech's owned by another holding company. So Bontech is no longer its own thing. They got bought by a holding company a while ago.
Yeah, but that's just a holding. I mean, that's not a big deal, right? Because a holding company can hold it or get rid of it.
They could, and they might be interested in doing so, but it was one of those leverage buyout deals, as I understand it.
Yeah, so that I don't know. Back in the '80s, all the leverage buyouts, they would just pull the company apart and sell the parts, make their money back.
Yeah, and then there started being issues with that. And nowadays, leverage buyouts, they just transfer all the debt to that company,
Take.
extract everything out of it,
Mm-hmm.
and let the company die.
Yep, that's
about.
generally. and then sell it off in bankruptcy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I worry about the future of E3D right now.
Why is that?
So, unless I've missed something, the only thing they've really had of any note recently was the Revo. They announced that Fugue or whatever, uh, and didn't come to market. And also another thing to mention, the Revo, when it got released, had this same issue with the Obsidian nozzles, where they were promised by a certain date, didn't end up making delivery. Now, granted, they didn't ship anything that was not what they promised. It just took forever for them to actually get it because they wanted to do it right, which is why I trust D3D
Well, that was
to.
Bombtech's statement also, um, and that's why it was been delayed so long. But I think they were focused more on mechanical issues rather than issues such as this or the heater coil issue. But I'm not really worried about E3D per se because besides the general thing, right? They are making the extruder nozzles for Prusa, right? So every Prusa printer that goes out that's a modern one is getting an
Yeah,
E3D product in it. They are expanding into bamboo. They are expanding into basically any other hot end out there. They are making either a Revo compatible or a V6 compatible nozzle for it. So I mean, not really. I don't think they have a lot of growth, like huge amount of growth, but I think they're going to be around.
Down under maker put it kind of where I land on it. I think that without Sanjay, they kind of lost their way.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would put it differently. I think they're rediscovering.
Yeah, because the Revo was uh, still a brainchild of Sanjay's. It may have come out after his passing, but it was still started and most of the development done under him. Um, uh, I think I think losing Sanjay set 3D printing hot ends back quite a bit and kind of stagnated us for a while.
Yeah, but it's coming
Um,
back. I mean, you
it
have,
is, it is. But
but yeah,
um,
I'm not worried about them. I think they got enough creative people after talking with them at enough Rocky Mountains. They got enough creative people to come up with ideas. I
yeah,
think it's a matter of having the infrastructure to produce those ideas. I don't think they're short of them. I think they're short of being able to manufacture them.
yeah. And it's a rough time for businesses across the board. You know, let alone to throw significant amounts of money into R&D.
I mean, our when I was, oh god, when I was in private sector, companies would put like huge amounts of their profits back into R&D for the next product that came along, and it was usually ridiculous amounts of money, but that was your growth. And then if you don't put money in R&D, you don't have a future because you don't. I mean, you can sit on your cash cows, your products, but if there's nothing new coming out, there's no future.
Yep. Gergman says, how much new nozzle tech should be expected? Seems everything is very mature. Hardness, high flow, ultra high flow, swappable nozzles or not. Well, that's the thing, Gergman. We don't know because it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. So, and anytime someone says, "Is aren't we at the limit?" or "What new we can we expect?" Uh, there's always something new, right? So, like, my day job as a patent examiner, and one of the applications I had to examine was glass, like a glass that they would put on to cover an LED, right? And it was made out of vanadium was one of the components of the glass. And I mean, glass has been known for thousands of years, and they're still coming up with new combinations to produce things. Like look at Gorilla Glass from Cornell, no, Corning. I mean, that was just glass, but they came up with something new. I think in hot ends, what you're going to see is shapes of the flow path, and you're going to see different creative ways to get a laminar flow of molten filament out at a faster pace. And that's the fuse was one way of doing it, right? Though without just squishing it. The other way would have been uh, the guy who did the orbiter nozzle. He's got that
Yep.
on his. That's basically just changing the internal geometries, and uh, that's in the nozzle. I believe Rapido X changed it in not in the nozzle, but in the heater area. They changed the flow characteristics there. So there, I mean, there's a lot of things to look at. You know, people
Yeah.
here have done tricorn where they're hooking up 3 heaters.
Yep.
So
And then also ease of maintenance improvements. Right. So the Revo was kind of a ease of maintenance thing. Like sometimes you get small steps forward, sometimes you get giant leaps forward. Uh, and yeah, maybe we reached the limit of it, but I doubt it.
yeah, there's going
It's
to be
just
You're
going to
right.
take the right guy with the right idea and the right place at the right time. You know.
what's that, Bob?
I think we've reached a pause on that. And, the reasoning is the the indexed head series were going to do inductive heating. I think they're going to try to play with that for a little while before they do a huge thing with nozzle changes. Just because if this works, then that's going to change all of their designs going forward. So I think we're going to hit about a year pause on nozzle technology. Now that's my theory, but I think that the fact that we've known about this for a year is why we essentially had a pause on it now. And as soon as that pans out, either way, success, fail, can we do the temperatures, all of that scenario? What can we do with inductive heating? Then they're going to start redoing nozzles for what you guys are talking about. I don't think Rec is wrong. I just think we're going to hit a pause. So I wouldn't expect to see anything for about 6 months to a year minimum
Oh, that'd
before
be a.
anyone
Are
moves.
you're talking about a pause like on the market, not
I
necessarily a
think we're going to see
pause
a
behind the
pause and see.
scenes.
No, I think we're going to see. It's going to look like a pause to us because nothing new is going to come out year, say. And I'm just throwing out a date. Nothing looks like new coming out for a year because they're going to be playing with this inductive theories and the setups that are coming out and finding which route they're going to go. Because I'm sure we all agree tool swappers or nozzle swappers, that's the future of FDM crunching.
As it stands, I would agree.
So why develop until we find out how the index is going to work and how the patents are going to play out? We've already got a example of let's be real, there's going to be a lawsuit with two of the companies here.
I mean, it all depends on. I haven't read the any of the patents, but it all
They've got to
depends
get
on
their
what they actually.
patents granted first. They can't
Well,
sue anybody until it gets granted.
I
you're
suspect
right.
that they're going to be. I mean, yeah, you're right. They're not
And
going to see. There's going to be a fight.
I
and
mean,
supposedly they haven't even filed in the U.S. for
that,
patents.
that isn't. I mean, if they file in EU, they've got a date, and that's all. All that really matters is that date. If they've got a date, they can file in the U.S. So I wouldn't use that as a stopgap. But
Here's
yeah,
the other
we'll
thing we
see.
haven't. They're going to. We know they're going to battle it out. If nothing else, public opinion, and try to go that way. Again, you're right. None of us have seen the patent. I mean, unless somebody seen it that I haven't. They've released way too much data on it without a patent, in my opinion. But that's my opinion on that. They, but I really suspect that think it's going to be copied anyway. Inductive heating is not going to be able to be, that can't be the only passion for it. That's never going to fly. Inductive heating has been used for years. So that's not going to fly, but somebody's going to come up with something else, and they're going to play down that road for about a year.
I'm going to have to
And
disagree on that last statement that inductive heating and 3D printing is not going to fly. That's not necessarily how it all pans out. Um, if they're doing inductive heating in a technology that hasn't been done before, I mean, I don't know if it has or has not, but it's just because it's known in one
it's got to be
technical
more
sense.
advanced than just inductive heating. It's got to be more advanced than that.
Right, but if for example, I can't, I mean, let me see how to give an example in this. They can say, we're claiming the inductive heating in this technology versus inductive
Novel use
heating.
case.
Thank you. Right, and if no one's done it before in this technology, maybe no one thought about doing it. You know, maybe they just thought about it for steel. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's I don't.
In
I
other
think
hot end news, it's not in the notes, but
Oh,
update on Tube Compact, supposed to be shipping the end of the month. So uh, for those that have pre-orders for it through Luke's Lab, you'll probably be seeing shipments by the end of the month. If you ordered it through like Fabrico, West 3D, I don't know if KB3D did pre-orders for it, but anything like that, it'll end up getting shipped out to them around the same time, and week or so after you'll probably get it. But the price is going up for anybody that didn't pre-order it. I think up to the 170.
it's going up like $10, I think.
Or yeah, maybe it's going up to 180. I had to cancel my pre-order um, to get rails and stuff for the Trident. I just needed Trident to work, and cash flow is what cash flow is,
Yeah.
Bird in the hand is worth two in the bush kind of thing. So I just wanted to make mention of that for anybody that missed that. It didn't make it in the show notes. I just saw the update on it late last night, so I know it came out prior to that, but that's when I saw it.
If we can just take one step back on this whole tube compact being delayed, I think in general, it's not just our 3D printing community; it's a lot of uh, consumer products. I think they're just announcing them way too early. All these companies just need to stop with the hype train and just wait till it's like maybe a month, 2 months out from actually being delivered. Because I mean, yes, we've seen it with the Pike, Pika, and the Tube Compact and the Index, but like, I just want these companies to just take a breath, and just wait to actually develop their product that it works instead of giving us delays and extended times and stuff. That's my
Yeah,
2 cents.
I think it might be okay to, if you've got to do it. I think it might be more easier to swallow to have something announced like this is going to be coming if you're not taking people's money for it. If it's like, we all know that in about, 4 weeks, we'll be getting the iPhone 18. Nobody is mad that they're having to wait right now for the iPhone 18 because Apple hasn't taken your money. And when Apple does, it's like, hey, you can pre-order it today and go pick it up Friday,
Well, I would agree. I would agree with your statement.
right? And also, if you don't want to pre-order it, you can go pick it up Friday, right?
Might be out of stock come Friday, but yeah.
No, I've got more of a understanding for somebody like Luke Slab than I do Quantech.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, they're a
because it's
small company that's trying to get a product off the ground. And to a large extent, while BombTech might have been slightly larger and more established, I don't think that they necessarily had the capital to complete the project without a pre-order. Same as like Luke's Lab probably did not have the capital to complete that project without a pre-order. Right? Now, for a company like, Creality or Bamboo, who to their credit do not do this kind of, you know, thing largely, with the exception of like the M1, John Doe made mention of earlier in chat, where they're not doing Kickstarters for stuff anymore, right? It's just, hey, here's a here's a product, it's coming, go buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't think big companies should be doing Kickstarters. I think it, you
Agreed.
No.
Kickstarter should be what Kickstarter's for. Starting a company. Somebody like Luke's Lab, I've got no issues. They're growing it. They don't have the money, but I will not be supporting a Bamboo Kickstarter or a Reality Kickstarter myself.
Or even Soval should not have. The M1D should not have been a Kickstarter. It should have just been a straight. If they wanted to do it, do a pre-order.
And it's a perfect segue into our next topic, the Creality Spark i7 Nano.
Bamboo clone.
It's a Bamboo Mini kind of format. I wouldn't necessarily call it a clone of, maybe it's close,
Maybe.
but
Look, it looks like it.
it's closer to a Cobra X than it is the A1 series of printers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the picture and I'm thinking bamboo in my head.
I think so. I think that we will see a lot printers trying to take that same aesthetic. It's a known aesthetic. Like people see it. All right.
It,
It's visually clean. All right. They're
I,
going to be they're
I
going to
wish
be
these
copying that for a
companies,
while.
I wish these companies had just some creativity in them, because we saw it with the enders, right? You got one ender, then everyone just made an ender that looks like an ender.
Yeah.
Yep, slight differences. Now it's bamboo. Like, it's not, these things aren't hard to design mechanically, right? Put some creativity in it.
Give me the option to get it in anodized orange, at least, for Christ's sake.
I mean, that sets you apart. Why not?
I agree. I think if it looked different, I'd be more interested in it. Just because, but if it looks exactly like my Bamboo, what's the point? You know, uh, it's just
I mean, they're all competing just on the lowest race to the bottom of for price. So
I don't know. They've all been kind of hovering around the same price point, all of them. It doesn't seem like any of them are trying to outdo each other on price, and that might be a function of just bill of material costs.
I mean, that might be the floor. The floor
Yeah,
might be $299.
yeah. And I could easily see that. I mean, I've built printers. I know how much it costs to buy components.
Yeah, but you're not buying them at the in China at the
No,
Chinese rate.
no, but if you factor in, right, that, let's say I am buying a thing for 2x over the cost of the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the price of every component to build that is going to cost me $299, right? I know that Creality is paying less than me, right? They're paying cost plus a much smaller percentage on the manufacturing of those components because they're not making their own rails; they're buying it from somebody, right? And then they're reselling it to me. They've got to make a profit still. Like
Well,
I
does
realize that,
Crowley
but I don't
sell?
know that.
Does Crowley sell in other markets besides direct to consumer? Like,
No
can I
idea.
go to, say, a reseller and buy a Crowley printer?
Yes, they
Yeah.
do go through reseller,
So
so they're
you
going to have some market in there.
right. So take 25-30% right off the top, right? And so that's $300. It's 10% 30, so $120. Is that right? Something like that.
That's what the margin I would expect.
Yeah. So take $120 off. That's going to be the reseller's profit, and then now you're at 200 and no $180 is what their Creality has,
Probably,
and then take 30% off that or 25% for Creality's profit, and you're
yeah,
talking a sub $100 printer is what this
yeah,
in parts. I mean that's probably as low as they're going to be able to get it.
yeah.
I actually think you're low on the profit margin for reality. They're going to need more because you got shipping involved and a few other things to
I
get
mean,
these made. I mean, but
just
you're
even
looking
look
at
at.
$700.
I was gonna say, just look at even their earnings from the first half of the year. How bad that was.
I missed that one, so I don't know
I don't know.
Yeah.
on the earnings. But I mean, you're
What's up,
looking at
Millwright?
700.
Yo,
Yeah. It. It's it's another printer in a very flooded market. But if you're in the market for a small printer,
is it a
you
flooded
know,
market though? It's like it's you guys aren't bringing up the most important part, which is like one, you're like, oh well, can I buy it as a no-name generic? Probably in China. We'll see when I get my butt over there. We'll see how many generic machines I can get my hands on. Right? Look at. But basically, what's happening now with all printers is someone. It's just like with the open source complaint, right? Somebody is doing all of the heavy lifting. Somebody is doing, like in the foreign community, they're doing all of the driving factors behind machines, and then someone is copying their homework and trying to find a quicker, faster, more uniform way to release it for mass production. So the next generation is going to be, tool swappers and dual head extrusion. That single head extrusion machines had their place, but really the next step, bare minimum, is dual head. No ifs, ands, or buts, right? Because everyone complains so much about material loss and so much. By the way, my name is Maker Millwright. I'm from the Free Heathen Workshop. Thank you for having me on the pod today, Alex. I appreciate you. Hello, Bob. Hello, Jonathan. Hello, Reth. I see you hiding there, sir.
I'm outside smoking. So just to catch you up, we actually discussed that multi tool heads is the future.
Well,
The issue we're seeing with these, that at least I'm seeing with these type of printers, is that they're just clones,
yes.
right? And it's a race to the bottom in price,
Yes.
and there's just no creativity
No.
or any sort of delineation between one to the next. And this is
But
very common in how China does things. It was very common before in how other
Japan did
countries
it,
exactly. So,
right?
but there's nothing there to say wow, right? It's just basically we just have another printer.
Yeah, like I agree. Like the place to look now is start to look at, because China's, they're big on the broad spectrum manufacturing, but I guess Korea is the place to look. But I don't know enough about Korea. I just know that right now they're saying Seoul is the tech capital of the world, whereas like the manufacturing capital of the world is China and its many manufacturing cities. But like anytime you see a single nozzle machine, it's pretty much like old technology because they've stabilized IDEX. For anyone who doesn't understand, they're now going to index. There's index cloning being a huge thing, but that's all part of the tool swapping, machine head swapping systems. So, the fact that we're not seeing multi-extruder single head machines, is strange because, maybe that technology is being left by the wayside because Bamboo did it, Snapmaker did it, but is Creality doing it? And Creality is the big bad boy on the block, right? Because they made all their money on the Ender 3, and the Ender 3 is still going, believe it or not.
Jim says that their Creality's their own competition. They don't seem to talk internally about different projects. So
Well,
it's
remember,
my
Soma was
impression
backed
that
by Creality, right?
company with many different development teams
And sister companies.
Oh,
Like that's one thing that you guys didn't talk about was sister companies. They probably own the people who are making the parts. It's not like they're buying
Creality
from
is
another
kind of
company.
Creality is kind of like in the automotive world, Stellantis. All right, Stellantis. But imagine if every auto that Stellantis owned, instead of releasing cars under their own individual names, release it as a Stellantis, and you'd be like, "Wow, why is Stellantis releasing 5 subcompact cars? Like they're just competing against themselves."
Well, look at what happened with the big three, right? I don't know if people remember, but the bailout, part of the bailout was they had bought too many sub companies and they were manufacturing under too many different brands, and they were cutting into their own pockets. But look at Ford bought how many motor companies to put it all under the umbrella of Ford? Chrysler did the same thing. It's we're not seeing that in the North American market, but if you went to China, I guarantee you'd see it. You'd see resin machines that you've never heard of. You'd see FDM machines you've never heard of. You probably even see SLA machines that you've never even heard of. Right?
Yeah. I'm going to move us forward from this
Sure.
onto a similar topic because I think it's pretty cool. It's something that we've talked about a bit this week, and that is the co-print Quattro. I know Reth is going to hate this, but I actually really like it. And I want to give, because everybody else in the Discord has agreed with you, Rep. So I want to give my the opposite.
All right. Let me hear it, man. Let me hear your viewpoint on this. Why should I buy this for
I'm not
$500?
saying you should buy this. I am
No,
saying
but
it is a good thing to exist, right? And that there's a place for it.
I will agree. I will agree with that statement.
And there's some advantages that it has over a Core XY system.
All right, let me hear those.
So if you were to take 4 tool heads and you were to take and put this on a Core XY motion system, you would have to sling around the weight of 4 tool heads.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
They'd all be on the x-axis. You'd have to sling it back and forth in y.
You dock it. You would dock.
Okay, here's my argument against docking, right? Because we right there behind Jonathan, we've got the index system, tool changer system, right on the U1. So every single time that thing grabs a tool head, that's a wear. Right, you've only got so many times that is going to be able to dock before.
How does this one hook up onto its tool heads?
The tool heads are always hooked up.
They can't be always hooked up. They have to be able to release the belt.
No, they're on 4 different belts.
They're on 4 different belts.
Okay, do you hear yourself now?
So,
I mean, we went from
so,
one maintenance problem to 4 maintenance problems.
but
Yeah, but a motor belt pulley is
They,
is
uh,
less complex than
oh,
interlocking tabs.
bullshit.
Oh, wait.
On this thing,
the,
I don't know who you're trying to sell to.
I can replace 4 belts probably for less than
Do you see that
4 tool
X-axis?
heads and a cam system on a U1.
Those things are probably in there in some weird, funky configuration to get 4 belts, independent belts that aren't touching, into that axis.
So it looks like it's on a 4040. So it looks like
It
you've
is.
got 2 belts that run one on top, one behind the other, and then 2 belts that run on the
So
bottom, one
now
behind each other.
instead of 2 motors for an XY with 2 belts, I've got 4 motors with
Yeah.
4 belts, and I have
There's
alignment issues
issues.
on those belts.
There's going to be lots
There are
of
issues, but there's issues with everything. Is my point, right? So you're splitting your wear across 4 carriages rather than all your wear being on
It's
one.
not going to be split evenly. You know that. I mean, we've all
I know
played
it's
in
not going to be
multicolor.
split
Can
evenly, but
you
it is
bring the
split.
pod back up, Alex?
Oh yes, sorry. Um,
Yeah.
so
Bob, what
I'm
do you
excited
think?
for this.
What do you think, Bob?
I think my opinion is when one breaks, it's going to break the other. You're going to have more repairs, more problems, and technically, now I've been wrong. I'll admit that I was wrong. I thought the spring-loaded or that toolless nozzle swap on the A1 was going to be a problem, and I'm sure that a lot of anybody that's done maintenance can see where I got my idea of that.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. I didn't see as many failures. But this is, I think, a nightmare mechanically. Look at the way they've hidden the belts. You got all those parts. You're gonna have to pull everything apart to fix anything, and it is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah,
Now I could be
maintenance.
wrong.
These are gonna at that price point. These are just gonna get thrown in the trash. No one's gonna fix them.
Yeah, but a
Yeah.
lot of machines are like that now.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I have to support it or I have to say
No,
it's a great idea.
I think it's cool. Like I'm curious to see if you can use the 2 center heads to clone.
yeah, but
Work it like an
here's the other
IDEX.
thing, right? It's a first gen product of this, right? And it's an alternate development pipeline.
I will give you that. I will
Where does
concede
it
that.
go, right?
But
So
we have to go out and stand up here and
there's
tell people the truth, which means would any of us really want to touch this with a 10-foot pole and maintain it? I think it's our job to come up with or to tell people the problems of what they could get into before they invest their money and then waste it. We have to
I'll
be
take 1.
honest
I
with
don't
each
want 100.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if that's the conversation, right? Like, will I take 1 to play with? Yes. Do I want a print lab with 100 of them on first
No.
release? No. The other thing that is interesting about this is CoPrint has had a problem in the past with their technology. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but CoPrint has released like basically an AMS style unit for like older machines, but there's been problems with it in the past. But when they talked about the Quattro, I was just like, what interests me is the idea that it can work like an IDEX. That's what interests me the most.
I agree with playing with it and looking at the future, but if we're actually being honest with the end user, this is for somebody who can waste some money.
Yeah,
That's the first people that should be buying this. Rhett is 100% right on the issues. And when one belt breaks the way it's done, because they're going to have a pulley system out there with all 4 belts running right next to each other, one breaks is going to break the other.
they're slotted.
Not
There are better
necessarily.
photos of this. There's Alex. I don't know if you saw it or not, but there actually is photos of the gantry.
Which gives us a better opinion.
So, are you saying the belts are running
Okay.
into the 4040 slot?
Okay.
They're there.
Yeah, that's a
That's
horrible. That's a maintenance nightmare. It is. It is. I mean,
No, I'm not saying you're wrong.
I mean, what? So let's say one of those middle belts breaks, right? How
Sure.
do I get to the rest of the components, and how do I get that belt aligned on everything
Yeah,
without
pull it
not?
all apart.
I
Yeah.
gotta.
You know
Yeah.
what else is a maintenance nightmare? Replacing a USB-C cable to my Century Carbon.
Yes.
I think I have a
Right.
3-hour-long video replacing a USB cable.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
know,
just ask
Every
Brad.
single
He
one
had
of
to
these
do it
printers,
his.
as they develop, it's just like new cars, right? Every single one of as we refine stuff, we put more tech into things. It becomes harder to maintain,
Oh yeah.
I,
Well,
right?
I
it's
And
I think
Yeah.
Howie brings up a good point, right? Let's just talk about an actual print here. If we're running some sort of input shaping test on this thing, you you're gonna have to do it for every tool head, just like a tool changer. But it's going to be different based upon
depending
where the
on the
other
way the
tool heads
head
are,
is, yeah,
right? Because none of these tool heads are fully independent.
no.
no.
They're all effectively coupled through the x-axis, and if you have one off, maybe one belt is rubbing, it's going to affect the others because that vibration is going to go through everything.
Yeah, and whether the tool heads are on the left or the right, and, yeah.
Yeah,
But I disagree with the belt breaking thing, breaking the tool heads. If it was me and I wanted to ensure that a tool head that a belt doesn't break and another tool head doesn't crash into it, I put Hall effect sensors all the way through the thing
is it running
so that
Clipper?
I'm
If it's
assuming
running
who knows.
Clipper, it may not react fast enough
Um,
to basically
I
um,
believe it's Clipper.
pull or
We're
like
looking at
let's say a
two.
well,
belt
you can
breaks.
add a weight. You can say, hey, wait for this input signal in Clipper. You don't have to say, look for this and then keep going. You can
Well,
add a weight.
let's play this out, right? So let's take Bob's thing of a belt breaks, right? So I got a tool head somewhere. Let's just say it's the middle, one of the middle two, and it's somewhere in that x-axis. And it the system doesn't know that the belt broke, right? None of ours
Yeah.
had feedback on it, so it's gonna think it's printing. The tool head's kind of just sitting there, or maybe it's slammed against something. Who knows? It's going to sit there, and the next tool head's going to come, and it needs to print over here. It's just going to smack it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So let's say you're printing with tool head 2 and you're trying to move it out of the way. So it's got to go all the way to the right
Yeah, resting
and
position.
to move out of the way for tool head 1 to come in. You just have Hall effect sensors where it says, do not move tool head 1 until tool head 2 has tripped the Hall effect sensor on tool head 3.
But it could also just
We're
have optical sensors.
we're not actually saying that it can't be done. What we're saying is
Yeah.
it's not done at that price point. Now
Yeah,
let's
but
actually say there's a
Hall
rough
effect is
assumption
cheap.
for
Magnets are cheap.
let's just
But we're racing to the bottom, sir.
well, yeah, but
we're
you're
just
looking
saying like
at
rough
a
stuff on there.
$600 machine that
Well,
has 4 independent heads. Well, semi-independent heads. I don't even know what you'd call it because they're not truly independent. But it's what interested me was it's like a cheap IDEX.
Yeah. I think
there's
it's
no
a I think
difference.
it's a great idea, a new idea,
Yeah.
and one that has room to grow and expand upon.
I mean, I think it has potential down the line. Will this one be the best of it? Who knows? But at least we're
It's just
seeing
a
new ideas
concept
to
for a
try to go to
forum.
market.
I will concede to that fact 100%, Jonathan, that it is a new idea, and I love to see that. Um, do I? Is it something I would play with? No.
Same. I don't think it's. I would buy it either. I mean, if I'm going to
I,
buy a, if I'm
why?
going to buy a bed slinger, I'd probably go more with either the Cobra X or something like that.
I would love to get my hands on it and test it.
Yeah.
Right, and if it's crap, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Co-print, send me one.
But
I'm on your
what if it could
side
do
here.
something
I
really
want it to be
cool?
great.
Like, what if it can do something really cool, like clone, or you know what I mean? Like, what if there, like, because there's a lot with that, the moving of the heads and stuff. That's a very interesting system. And again, I'm curious about the volume. Like, for example, on the Snapmaker 2, you cannot get full volume with the extruders, right? You can't.
I think that's a question of defining what volume is, right? So you can say, well, the 4 tool heads in the back are taking a volume. Or you can look at it as, well, your volume is the bed in front of those, right? It's a definitional thing. So I
Yeah,
don't.
I'm just
You're gonna have to make
does it do
room
a full
for.
plate,
Yeah.
Well,
right?
what's
Because
a
like
People
full
are
plate?
always people
well,
are
full
always going to
plate
be
is the full
bothered
volume
if
of the
they
plate.
have a
Edge to
plate and
edge.
they can't print to all of it. It's
Exactly.
Well,
always going to.
you put a smaller plate there, right? I mean, these aren't.
I think companies would be smarter to put the smaller plate in there in the long run, but they also want to be able to put bigger number on bed. So they're stuck in two different worlds.
I
Yeah,
think if
because
they
um,
like
actually put
this,
in a wall effect
this is
system
only
like
$395, right? It's not
What's
400.
what? Hang on there. What's that, Bob?
I think if they put on like your system that you're selling for the Bourne, if they put one of those on each head, I think it would actually be able to function. It is compensating as it goes with the right setup, but then it wouldn't be cheap. That's
Yeah,
where this is always going to be a
yeah.
problem. And without that system, it's not going to work as an IDEX because the way that they've got four heads, you're not going to be able to program this. Is it a neat concept? Yes. Would I buy one? Again, it all goes back to no. I would be too scared. And if the belt breaks, it's not only smacking the other head, that belt's going to wrap up in the other motors. There's another screw up point. I can think of 5 ways this will fail and will fail, not if or possibly. It will fail in 5 different locations that I can think of right
But it
now.
may
And
have sensors for that.
It
Like,
does. It doesn't matter. I mean, the sensors will help to an extent, but like you said, if one of those belts breaks, because it happens, right? We've all seen
yeah,
broken belts, and they don't break just like snap and fall out, right?
no.
You've got four belts, in with four belts, right? This belt breaks and it wraps around this belt, right? And maybe it cleared the sensor to the next tool head, and now this tool head wants to move. It's going to be grabbing that belt with it and moving things around.
yeah.
So
I think more than belt breaking, your issue is as belts wear and start to shred
Or stretch.
and
The
fray.
the
I mean,
that's why I
pretense
look
the
for one.
pretension is what interests me because depending on where how that all aligns for the belt tensioners, it'll be interesting because each belt will stretch separately. It will have a different length.
well, they already have
Yeah.
to have different. Well, they don't have to have different lengths.
But you know what I'm saying? Like the coefficient of stretch is not uniform across product.
It would have to be different lengths in theory because otherwise the motors are moved on the diagram. So they would have to have different belts, which does make it more complicated. Um,
I don't think so because you could stagger motors, right?
Yeah.
So you could
you can,
stagger
but
where
the
they
way it's
bend.
designed, it looked like it would have. Now I'm assuming based upon the look of the pictures that I just looked at, I would say a different length of belt. Looking at it from I built machines before, I would assume. But even without that, no matter what, we've got four belts that are going to be right next to each other, and I think that's asking for trouble because any fraying on it will rub against the other ones.
Yeah.
The heads are in a different location. We just thrown off the resonance. The if they don't have optical sensors, one's going to smack the other. Amperage isn't going to work. I did see motor amps would work on an IDEX. It would work on a boron properly done. I don't think it's going to work in this case. And at the price point, there's no way they've got like rest system for harmonics on there.
Oh, they
It's not
could. I
going to
mean,
work.
it's what's that chip? The chip is 8XL is now like $10 a chip, but the LSI2W I think is still like $1 or $3 or something like that. So they could.
Um, but I doubt it at that price point. I mean, they've gotten it pretty cheap for what it is. Now, if they put any of that stuff on there, I think it could work, but you're still got the belt issues. You're still going to need
Oh,
optical sensors to know where
I'm
they
into it, John. Whatever
Yeah.
they say is as bitter as these guys are getting, they're wrong because I've been waiting for the Quattro for they've been talking about it for at least 6 months, and I cannot wait to see the IDEX function, and I cannot wait to see what it's capable for, like temperature, what it's capable for travel because that's a lot of weight, right? Because all those heads. Um, and I want to see what the wear cycle is because if you get 4,000 hours out of it, like at least a bamboo will get, who cares?
You're not
You
going
know,
to have travel issues on the one we're talking about because
the
it's
culprit.
good. No,
Yeah,
no,
I'm super excited for it.
the one that we were just showing pictures on.
Yeah,
I
the
don't-
Quattro. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You're not going to get travel issues or speed issues. And
No, I'm just curious how fast it will go. Right? Because there's a lot of mass there. So, and how
well,
fast each
no.
head will
You're looking at
operate.
the mass
No,
wrong. You're looking at the mass
you're
wrong.
you're only
It's
ever
only
moving one
one
tool
tool
head.
head. Yeah.
Uh,
You're not
I think it can
slinging
move
it.
two.
There's no x-axis to move.
I think it can move 2 tool heads at a time.
Yeah, but still, it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
the accelerations and stuff. You're talking about one tool head. If it's one tool head per belt, you're talking one tool head you got to move.
Yeah, and you're just lifting it up and down in Z, which you're not. You're never. That doesn't really play into.
You'll throw off the resonance, but I don't think it'll throw off the ability for speed.
I think you're going to have to
Uh,
be really limit yourself though in speed because a skip step is going to kill you.
Yeah. But
I think
that's
that
I think
it
it's
does a lot to solve issues with repeatability of docking. Like the the XL came out and it had issues with repeatability for docking. Um,
all of those
whether or
wear
not,
points, Alex.
yeah, and you're eliminating a bunch of different wear points on tool.
Yeah.
You're splitting up. It may not be evenly split, but you're dividing wear time on linear carriages, which is what wears out. The rail doesn't wear out. The
You,
carriages wear out.
you know what I'll equate
Um,
this to, and I think hopefully Bob, you agree with me on this one. I'm hoping this is like a positron, right? A positron is a fun printer to play with. It's a fun printer to have fun with, and that's it. Right? It's not going to be your everyday user. It's going to be like I want to play with it for an hour, 2 hours. Maybe I bring it to shows. Maybe I show it to people. But
Well, it's a
it's not
case
a
built.
production
Yeah,
printer.
it's case
And
built, right? Like for sure. Like no, I agree with you. But the positron, like I asked about it because I wanted a travel printer. So like when I go to shows around the world and stuff, I wanted to have one with me, right?
get a V0.
I have it's too big.
It'll fit in a suitcase.
It's too big. The
Carry
positron
on.
is so small, right? And considering what I do because I make lots of small stuff, the positron seemed awesome. And then what's that fancy one the English kids are making? But nonetheless, there's a positron, Muon, I think is what they call it. But having a machine that I could take with me and manufacture, and it's actually got a fairly decent build plate.
you can't
The,
manufacture on that thing.
No, you know
for me to take that to shows and show off what I'm making, like make something and then print it in front of people, absolutely possible, 100%.
I would say it's a gimmick at that
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And it's not true. It's manufacturing something if you want to put it that way, but it's not true manufacturing. Like no one in the
it's not
right mind
prosumer.
is going to produce products on a positron.
It'll get you
No,
attention.
it's not prosumer. It's just consumer grade. It's like I said. Like yes, do I want to take my V0 with me around the world? Yes. But do I want to take a baby belt? Sure. And a baby belt has lots more problems in manufacturing than say a Voron or the positron. And the positron has more problems in manufacturing than the Voron does because the Voron can print ABS, nylon. It can print anything you want depending on the head you got on it because it's an enclosed machine.
I think it's I think it's a great. I'm glad that they're doing it based on our previous discussion of the bamboo clone. However, I think it's a fad printer, and but you're gonna get people that love it and they're gonna swear by it. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's your U1s, your multi-tool heads like that are gonna win out.
I agree 100%.
Superior, it's just a superior product.
All right, I'm going to move us on to next topic here. We're going to talk about Bamboo Studios.
Oh, we're not going to do AB?
What is it? We'll come back. We'll come back to it.
Sure? My Bamboo.
We're talking about new developments. So I'm trying to stick with a theme rather than a list order, if that makes sense. So we're going to segue into another new development. Bamboo Labs. Anybody that speaks to me very much knows how much I enjoy being able to do things in Slicer. And this is being able to create assemblies inside of the slicer, like assembly instructions and stuff like that. And as somebody that puts together things quite often that people never felt the need to, write out assembly instructions. This is nice.
Don't you judge me. I hear you
That's
judging me.
undisputed.
So, um, uh, and it's going in the Bamboo Studio, which I'm assuming will trickle down to like Orca Slicer and stuff like that. Um,
So my
but
question on this, I don't use Bamboo Studio because I don't use any of their products. Um, is this a slicer or and can you
it's in
take
Slicer. It's
can you,
in Slicer.
so can I take I bring in an STL that has an assembly file, or do I assemble it in the slicer?
So I think it's using you import the step file.
Okay, so I have a
All
step
right.
file with multiple components or objects on it, and then it will
So
break those objects apart.
it says it says Bamboo Studio now supports creating model assembly guides directly within the software for complex assembly models. After importing a step file, the software can help split the model into assembly steps and provide visual guidance to show the assembly relationships, making it easier to understand the model structure and assembly sequence.
So I need to
So
have my step file needs to have objects in the step file. So I
yeah,
can't.
so
Go ahead.
I don't think it's going to be like, oh, I downloaded, the drippy bucket as a step file and I want to figure out how to put it together. It's going to be, I designed the steppy bucket and I'm going to just do an assembly instruction inside the slicer. People can download the, uh, insert an F3D file, bamboo studio file, and it's got the step file along with like blow apart that
Is
you
it
can do.
gonna be?
That's my assumption.
Is a file gonna? Is it gonna be a walled garden, or at the end of the day, when I save it, am I saving it as a some sort of format that another slicer can read?
It
Says
doesn't look like
export
it's
model assembly guides in PDF, Markdown, or MP4 formats with one click.
Okay, so basically they're saying do all this work in your step file in our slicer. Oh, and if you wants to share it, they also have to use our slicer.
yes.
Versus, like right now, I can create an assembly in a step file. Let's say in Fusion, I can give it to somebody else that step file. They can then modify it and say, what's the other one? The one with the website. The other
Okay.
CAD
On shape.
Onshape. They can modify it on Onshape, save it as a step, give it back to me, and I can get these blowout views like this. But what this is telling me is that if I want to do that, I'm stuck using Bamboo Studios.
I don't think so. So I think it's like, okay, let's say Millwright designs a Space Marine inspired like blaster model, right? And he includes uh he he did it in Tinkercad, so there's no option to do like blow parts and stuff like that. He just takes his model after he's done, exports it as a step file, imports it in the Bamboo Studio, tells it where everything kind of comes apart at, how it goes back together, and exports that as a video for people to
Now,
download the MP4 and watch the video on how this thing is supposed to come apart and go together.
here's the problem I see with it. That means
Lay it on me,
anybody
Bob.
that's using these files, they also have to release their step files. Not everybody wants to do that because that means all of your
No, no,
files in
no.
objects. If you don't keep
I
the
don't.
step files
If
animating,
I design Drippy Bucket and I don't want to release the step files, I don't have to. I can release just the STLs, but release the exported MP4, which is a video showing off how this thing goes together.
And remember, because you compiled it in Bamboo Studios, you get a 3MF file with all the plates because you already did it.
Is that 3MF file compatible with Orca Slicer?
Yeah.
It won't
Yeah,
be,
I don't think
right,
so.
because Bamboo's intentionally trying to move away from trying to increase the division between the two. It's just like, for example, just because we're on the topic, Snapmaker now has their own host website, but they're not allowed. They want you to make 3MFs, but they want you to make 3MFs for the Q1 or the U1, sorry, the U1. So it's not
Yeah,
like
but I
All
can
you're.
the
still
files
import it. I
are
can still open a U1 3MF in Orca Slicer and change the printer.
Bamboo doesn't. Bamboo is trying to stop that. Bamboo is
They
trying to
can't
stop.
because as long as they're still using the
all of
same.
our files won't move over. We're actually finding that some of the files, when we paint it in Bamboo, cannot move to Orca. We're moving to Orca to paint in a lot of cases so that they will move over. Bamboo is
Oh
actually
yeah,
stopping.
painting won't work right, but the model itself will work fine. But this isn't for 3MF. This is for making a how do you put
No,
this
no,
together
no.
video,
That's what
or
I'm
how do
trying to
you
agree.
put this together PDF, right? This
That's
is
what
documentation on how to put it together, not any the actual model
Yeah,
itself.
well, yeah, because what you're doing is you take a model and there's a bunch of different ways to import it, right? Like I don't do steps. I'll do it as a bunch of positional STLs. Like so, I'll have a big model, then I'll take it apart in pieces, and I'll download each segment piece. And I can bring that into Bamboo, and I can reassemble it as a single object. Okay, because all the positional data is kept. Um, but what this does is it's exactly the same thing, but it allows me to do assembly. I think it's great, personally. But and you'll be able to have, with that PDF, you'll have a companion
Definitely
file of a Bamboo 3MF. That's what you'll have. So you'll have so it'll be all split up on the build plate. So you do your print order or your cut list if you prefer, and then you'll be able to use the 3MF, sorry, not the 3MF, the PDF or the MP4, and be able to make the assembly. I think it's wonderful, personally, because I am
I,
super lazy.
I'm going to partially agree with you. I think the functionality is good. I think the end result is that models are going to be, as Gorgon Jurgman said, the models are going to be walled off, right? So let's say I go to
Well,
Bamboo's website and they only have their 3MF file for this
Yep,
model, and that's it. Either I
yep,
use
no,
Bamboo's
but
Studio or I'm
okay,
done.
okay. Let's
I
say
don't like
let's
that idea.
say I design Drippy Bucket,
sure.
right? But I need to show Bob how the hell to put this together,
No,
right?
Alex.
So
I'm
I
not
bring it into
confused on that.
Bamboo Studio and I make a MP4 and I export the MP4. And then I go over to printables and I upload the STLs and the MP4.
So I'm not confused as to that. However, as we've seen, Maker's World or Bamboo is trying more and more to get exclusive models only released on their site. Not every creator is doing it, but they're giving some creators money or some other thing, and they're getting released exclusively on Maker World, right?
I
The
don't
next,
disagree with that. Like, yeah, that's the case. But uh,
but if let's say
this and that are separate, though.
let's say I'm a Maker World content creator, right? I only put my stuff on Maker World because the whatever deal I have with Bamboo, and Bamboo's gonna be like, okay, we want you to use this feature now, and the only files you're gonna put up there are our file, our 3MF file for people. You're not gonna put the STLs. We just want the 3MF. That's gonna force people, if they want that model, to download Bamboo Studio with all of its privacy concerns, which I personally have a lot of, and that's going to be it. It's a slow train to a walled garden, just like their RFID. It's like most of the things they're doing until they get caught is trying to wall you off into Bamboo's world.
Yeah, but they could do that without this, and this doesn't
Go,
necessarily
who am I arguing
mean
against?
that.
I got all you guys. Who am I?
Sorry,
Well,
go
Uh,
ahead,
I
Bob.
agree with you, right?
if you
I
read the
still think it's a great
documentation,
tool,
it
but I agree with
requires
you.
step files. if you actually read the documentation, it looks like it's requiring a step file. We have to give a lot more data to Bamboo to do this. And
Oh,
what a
okay,
lot of
I
people
get
do,
what you're saying, and the fact that you have
Hmm.
to upload this step file to Bamboo in order to be able to do it. I got what you're saying now. Not necessarily that you were saying you had to upload the step file to the general public, but that you had to upload the step
I don't
file to
care as
Bamboo.
much about the general public as I do Bamboo. And I know this sounds weird, but they're going to training AI on this stuff.
They
So
already are.
I've got to give them more data than what I'm giving them now.
Yeah, I just misunderstood what you were saying. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the functionality. I think it's good. I don't trust the company bringing the functionality.
Yeah,
yeah.
which is fair. That's a fair
But
statement.
I'm obviously not an expert in open source, but if you're putting this functionality into a slicer that you have to publish the code for to comply with the open source license, wouldn't this be something that's easily enough to do a git pull for Orca Slicer and implement into Orca Slicer?
It depends. So, is it part of the slicer, or is it an
Yes.
add-on to the slicer? For example, Bamboo doesn't have to release their network connectivity because that's an add-on. That's one of the arguments, right? Some are saying no, it's built into the slicer. They have to release that. Bamboo's saying no, 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 it's not built into the slicer. It's an add-on. So is this an add-on, which they don't have to open source, or is it actually integrated and built into the slicer? I don't know the answer to
Now,
that.
I don't
the
know
honest
enough
thing is
about coding or anything like that to tell you.
uh,
I
John Doe says it's an
Says
orc.
says it's a network plugin.
the Bamboo Studio generating the assembly guides is a network plugin.
That's what it says.
Then then they won't open source it, right? They're going to say it's
Uh,
not part of the slicer.
oh no, never mind. This is a list of known issues. Hold on.
I think Bamboo got caught with their hand in the cookie jar in the slicer originally, and now they're doing everything they can to try and get out of it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I would not be surprised if this is part of it.
Yeah.
This is
I
them probably trying to prove that their fork is unique to the source code to be able to try like you said, walled off garden, and that's been the talk, like that's been 2 years. It's 2 years like that. They want, that's what the RFID does. That's anything they can do to get you into, just like Apple, right? Just whatever you can do, just
There's a difference. There's a difference in that argument because one, Apple didn't steal anything to begin with, right? For the slicer, Orca only got caught because data was being sent back to Prusa.
yeah.
I mean, it's they didn't start off on the right foot, and there's a difference, right? And you take so I don't trust them, and I don't trust them with anything, really, because they don't have my best interest. They don't have open source. They're not trying to share things. They're just trying to lock me in
Oh yeah.
on something that has historically been open source.
Sure, but that's I told everyone 2 years ago. This is, as soon as they started saying, "Oh well, we're not going to, we're talking about not using Orca on our machines anymore." The slow crawl to its own system, just like Apple, it's been like that for a couple of years, and it's gonna go that way.
Albert.
Every manufacturer is gonna go that way, I think. The open source community will stay open, and they'll keep taking from the open source community. But this is a cool tool,
Who?
Alex. This is a good find. I didn't know about this. This is a cool tool.
yeah. I regardless of how you feel about Bamboo, I don't think that the argument can be made that it's not a freaking awesome tool.
Yeah, it's a sweet tool, especially with lazy designers like me.
You,
It
a lazy
looks like it might
designer?
be hard to
Never.
do.
I'm not going to say you're the first person that came to mind, but you're definitely one of the first people that came to mind.
Well, because I have one of my tanks is like 40 pieces. It's not, and then we're going bigger next time, right?
No, but so I've spent the last couple months working with a person that was designing a project working on a manual, right? And just being able to visually show in a PDF document like how something's supposed to go together can be incredibly difficult. And if I can write it out, an instruction set, and here reference this video that shows you how this thing mates together, how this part mates together, right? That's incredibly useful and powerful, right? Look at how much people love when the box turtle came out, just being able to visually see how something was actually supposed to go together in 3D, right? And the ability to do that kind of thing simply, easily in uh in the slicer, which I Maker Millwright loves designing in Tinkercad. I love designing in Slicer.
Yeah, but the slicers should be coming along to that, which I'm excited for. I actually had this talk with somebody else the other day. I think it's great. No, I don't care. I use whatever. As long as you're making stuff, I don't care. And the fact that you can now make a manual while you're doing it, that's even better, man. Like, I don't, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
That was my thing. Now let's bounce back in the show notes for tonight and hit on California AB 2047 amendments are now public.
Dude, I can't be a part of this conversation.
They've changed some stuff
Can you
with
put
the
the bill up?
language on it.
Can you put the
Yes.
bill up?
You want me to put the note up, or you want me to put the whole bill?
The whole bill with the red lines and everything.
Uh,
So I'm going to back out then. Thank you for having me, guys. Nothing but love. It's always a pleasure. It's so cool to be here. The brain trust of this room is just amazing. And it's always a joy. So, Alex, again, thank you so much for having me. Reth, be safe, man. Keep making all the toys for the kids, man. You lead by example, and I love you to death for it, man. Never forget that. Mr. Rabideau, my boy.
Yeah.
And Bobby, I love you, brother. Please be safe.
Good night.
Later.
Why can't he not talk about it? Does he have a financial interest?
No, he just
No,
doesn't want to
just
talk about foreign countries' politics.
What? I'm sorry, what?
It's politics in a foreign country. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's in
yeah,
Canada.
Oh,
he's Canadian, so he doesn't see himself
Yeah,
having a
he
vested
doesn't.
interest in it. It's like,
It's fair enough.
so
let me
just,
see if I can make this bigger.
yeah, and just scroll. This is actually good news.
Yeah, I know they've stripped out a lot more.
Everything. It's like just start going through the red lines. That's all we need to see is all the red lines. So if you look, there's the definitions, the very first part that haven't really changed, but now you get into all the redlining of the bill, and just keep going down. More red lines, more red lines. Oh, okay, that's another definition. Doesn't change, and you just keep going, keep going. Red line after red line after red line after red line.
Wow.
Till you get to the very end. Yeah,
I see that somebody gave this bill to my high school psychology and sociology
They
teacher to mark up.
the California Senate decimated this bill. So basically, all that's left in it is if the ASTM International actually publish industry standards on how to detect a firearm, then the California Department of Justice will have to evaluate how they're going to do it. And at the very end of this paragraph, if you keep going, scrolling a little bit more, there's some deadlines in there, right there. So So if the ASTM by July 1st, 2029 does not actually publish standards, this whole thing goes away. And then there's like a 2027 date up there. The biggest issue.
Does the ASTM have any interest in doing it?
Probably not. But so
they've got enough ISO certifications to deal with already.
Yeah. So this is probably going nowhere at the because you're going to have basically ASTM and like all industry things are actually run by the companies that create the standards. So you're talking not just 3D printers. Like the standard is not just going to be for 3D printers. It's going to be for CNC milling. It's going to be for every kind of manufacturer out there that either additively or subtractively makes something. Those guys don't want any. They don't want to touch this.
Yeah.
And if
So,
there's, yeah. So
so for
effectively,
clarification, I just want to go over something real quick on how this kind of stuff works in a business world, right? So if uh, I'm a company, right, and I produce a thing, I write an operation standard and a quality standards and all that stuff. I write that and it's documented, right? And then the certification process that ASTM comes in, right, and to follow ISO standards and stuff like that, is that I have to be. They go, okay, this is good. Now they come in and check and audit to make sure that I'm following my own procedures,
right? That your
right?
and your procedures
So
are based on their guidelines.
yeah, so unless a 3D printer company takes it upon themselves to go, you know what, we want to write a program that does this, and we're going to write standards and operation standards and all this
And then they
stuff.
have to be
And
adopted by the ASTM,
yeah, which they're not
right?
going to be
They're not
because
going to do it.
what 3D printing manufacturing companies left in the U.S.? What do you got?
Well,
Prusa
it doesn't have
now,
to be. So
and
that's an international standard, right? So it doesn't
but
have to be the U.S. It could be. It could be, for
oh,
example,
it does say
Bamboo.
inter. Yeah,
Bamboo could write a standard for how to detect a firearm in a 3D printer, right?
yeah. Now there's
Are they
now
going to?
I don't know. They did throw some money behind trying to get this passed. Um,
But if you scroll up a little bit, there's another date that happens on this. Um, let's
Yeah,
see.
Doesn't
there's a
it have to work
2027
too?
date.
Yeah. So beginning. So at July 1st, 2027, the Department of Justice has to go say, hey, ASTM, have you actually made a standard? And if they say no, then they don't do anything. If they say yes, we've made a standard, then they have another 24 months, 2 years to determine how to do this, how to write regulations. For people living in California, such as myself, the big thing that's happened in this bill is it's taken away the private cause of action. I was more worried about that than about the civil or criminal or about the criminal penalties. Because what it meant is if I went on Facebook Marketplace and sold a 3D printer that was not certified, anybody, anybody in the entire state could have sued me for that. And then they would have gotten certain statutory damages, and that was completely wiped out, completely redlined. So I'm very happy that it's in this state because effectively it has no teeth. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
All the punishments have gone away, all the penalties have gone away, and it sounds like somebody sat down with the Department of Justice, with the senators, and said, "Okay, does this make any sense?" And the answer was no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is just
there's apparently a
essentially
company.
designed. This is essentially designed to pass and walk away so they can claim they did something. That's
Yeah.
it.
I
There's a
mean,
couple people and companies out there trying to write some software for it. We were reading an article and talking about an article today of some guy in India that runs a print farm and says that he's got so I don't believe him for a second, but and then there's a company down in Columbus that's apparently trying to write some sort of program. But uh,
we have to give a lot of thanks to the all the people that put effort in to oppose the bill, right?
oh yeah,
Who was a lead guy doing this? What's his name?
Dan Torben.
Yeah, I mean this right here is basically a law that says we'll study the issue.
Yeah.
It's not a. I'm happy. I'm happy with this
Mm-hmm.
as it is.
And
Now,
then this is also the first domino that's going to knock over and probably gut the New York bill and other bills that are coming up,
yeah,
and
we're
just
going to
like,
follow lead. But I do have one question because when I worked in manufacturing, manufacturing led this, not printer companies. And I know that it's an entirely different scenario. But to get the standard done, they would have to get into manufacturing to sign off on this a little bit too. This is not just a printer company can make a standard and do whatever they want. That's those standards that they're looking at are for production.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to sign off on. I'm going to have to send every file I do through a server on a remote site and back. You're not
Well,
going to get all these companies saying, "Hey, please let us do this."
that was one of the things that people were talking about, right? Right to privacy issue here, because our 3D printers currently, as they stand, would not be able to run this software. So you'd have to go to a server, upload your files to a server. Uh, but as it stands, the manufacturing under the under that standard is they're looking at the printer manufacturers to make sure that their product is compliant, and right, that's what they're looking at. So it'd be the bamboos, the prusas, the anycubics, that the products
It's
that
also
they're
going to affect all of those CNC machines. Everything else is going to be affected down the line. They're not going to want to sign off on it. That
nobody
means
is.
the manufacturing plant is going to have more overhead and say, "Hey, please, basically, please take my money." Is essentially what you're asking them to say. Hey, take all my money because they're going to have to
So
put computers and servers and
yeah, and so like for me running a small nonprofit, I would have to own. It would add cost. Either I'd give up my privacy in the models and licenses I have in my models, or I've got to have costs and then be able to show uh, that my printers aren't capable of printing guns. It was unworkable, and it's going to continue to be unworkable, I believe. So I don't think the standard setting ATSM is going to be. They're not going to be looking at it too hard.
I just don't see everybody else going in and pushing for this because it's going to be a pain in the ass that people make the decision. And it looks like it's a dead issue. Now we're guessing because we're trying to read somebody else's mind. But
Right.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
so
bamboo
it's.
is pushing can do it.
I'm sorry. What was that?
I don't think any pressure from bamboo to sell new printers into California, you got the California printing industry, is going to actually do it. It's going to take more than bamboo to
Yeah.
Oh,
kind of do it.
I don't think anybody. I mean, there. No, it's because once there's a
There's workers
standard
that
for
standard
3D
for
printers, it's not very hard to get a standard for CNC machines of all the varieties, and those guys don't want to do it either.
that's basically who I think is going to block it because there's no benefit to it.
Right.
There's no point to it.
yeah. So
Bamboo,
here's the other part of this, right? So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it could be done, right?
All right.
What financial there at this point? There's got to be a financial interest for a 3D printing manufacturer to go out of their way to design a software or something, a detection system, whatever that detection system is, for their printer to be able to block. Where's the financial incentive to invest into that?
to a gut boron.
And and knowing that it wouldn't be able to be proprietary, that the government's going to steal it and give it to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
The
they
perk
would.
is it will absolutely gut boron.
I'm sorry. What was that, Bob?
I think the perk for bamboo is it would absolutely gut boron for about a year in California.
I don't think so because they're still going to print them. Like the law as it was written, Voron doesn't sell anything, and you don't get a printer. Like you are your manufacturer of DIY. So Voron's a DIY printer, right? If you built a Voron, you're the manufacturer of that Voron.
Yeah. The only way it would have really hurt the Voron community is if they could have somehow required like Clipper or something to implement it into Clipper.
Right, but that's
Um,
not how that law was
and
previously written either.
no, But the second you see a bill that comes that way, download the current version and never get rid of it.
Well, so here's another thing. It wouldn't have ever affected Calico or Clipper, right? Because they can't really stop you from downloading the firmware. So, and the
They
guys,
wanted to stop you from being able to download CAD files. They
well,
don't care. They want to stop you from doing anything.
Calico is developed primarily in Portugal, right? Even though it's Clipper derivative, it's a fork. It's in Portugal. I don't know where the Kevin from Clipper lives, but let's just say a secondary dev lives in another state. There's no way you could do that because it's open source, so anybody could fork it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. It would definitely be a hard sell. Um, you know,
I think that's the only financial interest that they could have is thinking it would end Clipper. That's the only, because there's nothing else that they could benefit from.
Well, they could. They could cut off. So let's just assume that Bamboo was trying to have this also pass. The financial interest to them would be that they could say, look, we can throw a couple $1 million at it, and we can get something that kind of works. That'll kill off all of everybody else, right? So that'll take care of any cubic, Creality, all the other Chinese 3D printing manufacturers wouldn't be able to sell in California. And California being the seventh largest economy or fourth largest economy in the world, that's a big market. And it would have trickle down effects to the companies, maybe put them out of business. So I could see the business rationale as to why, say, for example, if we're assuming Bamboo was putting money behind it, why they would do it.
And you're also forgetting New York's going to follow. If California passes, New York is going to. So
Well, I think New York was already ahead and already passed one.
yeah, New York
no.
was ahead of California on this particular topic.
If it would have been banned in New
They've been
York,
trying to get background checks to buy a 3D printer.
But they're going to suffer the same problem. It's the practicality of actually doing it. So but there's nobody. I don't think any company really wants to put money behind this because they will have to license the technology or sell it or give it up because it's going to be a standard. So it'd have to be open. It's going to be an open standard, or you pay for the standard, just like any other standard.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely problematic. So we're running down to the wire. We're gonna quickly do a rundown of some other things that aren't huge topics but are kind of cool. Apparently, Thingiverse has a membership now that adds SolidWorks discount, 50% discount on SolidWorks for a maker thing, which is pretty cool. Uh, Less cool that Thingiverse has a membership. Really hate these membership things.
They have to do something, right? I don't blame them. Thingiverse went to hell. It got so crappy. So they have to do something to kind of curate it back, I guess would be the word.
It's horrible. Over the course of 4 years, they went from being the name everybody knew and the first place everybody went and downloaded their first model to being relegated to a relic from the past.
Yeah.
AI to 3D tools ship printability focused updates. I guess AI Meshy 7 as a geometry alignment. AI is starting to work on more on 3D model stuff. I guess there's a bunch of drama over Stovall M1D. If anybody has anything to add on any of this, please go ahead and post it in the comments, or you guys feel free to interrupt me. John Doe says that's because the slicer was Cura. Yeah, it was kind of all one ecosystem, right? Kind of like, Maker World and Bamboo Studio kind of thing. The Stovall M1D Kickstarter is
I mean,
over 3.4 million, and there's drama over the shipping cost, which is
What's the
the
shipping
shipping
cost?
cost drama has been in there since launch of the Kickstarter.
What's the shipping cost?
So I think it's like $80 to ship it to the U.S.
That's not bad.
yeah. It,
But the
have
thing is they normally have free shipping on their website. That's what people are kind of pissed at.
12 each advance. So it's going to be instead of $1,600, it's $1,680.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, if they're upfront about the costs, well then,
about 20.
I mean, as long as they're not hiding the shipping costs, I don't see a problem.
Yeah, it's
I
been there,
think
so
if people were upset because in their eyes they hit it at first.
They what?
They hit it at first, like basically because they weren't expecting the shipping cost. Because the
it
shipping
was
cost is going to
there.
be
It
charged
was there at
separate.
the minute the Kickstarter went live. They may not have said,
Yes,
Mhm.
"Oh, by the way,
it's
we've
going
got
to
a
be.
Kickstarter campaign coming up. Also, know that there will be shipping on it." It's ridiculous. I'm sorry if you're upset about there being shipping on a printer that it's
I
a
think
Kickstarter that's going to ship to you directly, pretty much from China. You've lost touch. Go ahead and enjoy your Amazon Prime shipping. I don't know what
I
to tell
I,
you.
I think this is one of those things where we have, in certain aspects of 3D printing, we get a lot of benefits, right? So if a printer's been out a while, companies still want to sell it, they'll give you free shipping, right? Most of our resellers in the Voron community, they have free shipping over a certain amount of money, right?
mm-hmm.
You can get a free shipping when you buy from, I'm sure Creality and all the others have a free shipping if you spend a certain amount. The difference is this printer hasn't, made back its investment yet, right? So
No.
you're
And
not
they
getting
don't
the
have a bunch
benefit,
of them
right?
burning up warehouse space
Right.
that
So
they're
you're not
paying
going to
rent
get the.
on,
You
right?
want to be
So,
the first to have this toy. You're going to pay for the privilege of being the first to have the toy.
um,
Well, I think too. It's also people are a little upset is that they're going to be charged separately for the shipping, not through the Kickstarter.
Separately through shipping, so sometimes when I do a Kickstarter, like they'll go to take me to another website, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it'll go, you want to add all these extra features on, right? And at the end, it'll have an updated shipping. So I may have put the Kickstarter may have taken my initial money, and then they send me to the secondary website, they credit me that initial money that Kickstarter took, but then I get extra features, and then I've got a new total I gotta pay. Is it same like that?
I'm not 100%
Probably,
sure. I think it's going to be billed after it's funded, like after the funding date.
which is what
Right.
he's talking about. Once it's funded, they take you to a website, you fill in the information, and then they bill you for the shipping, and then you add on bill after the
Mm,
Kickstarter is over.
okay.
That sounds like a standard kind of thing. Um, it's just this is what you if you want to be the first kid on the block to play with the new toy, this seems to be the entrance cost to do it.
Yeah.
I don't do Kickstarter 3D printers. I there's too many bugs.
yeah.
I don't want to be the test bunny.
And it was just something that blew my mind that people expected there to not be shipping on a thing that they were buying. Um, I mean, would they
Some
have
people
felt
were
better if they just
complaining.
increased the price on the Kickstarter by $80 and then said it was free shipping? Because that's all it would have been. I don't care if you're not paying shipping or not, you're paying shipping.
I mean, even Amazon Prime, right? You're paying.
Yeah.
Amazon prices are not as low as they could be because shipping is built in to all the prices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you do Prime, all you're getting is you're paying so that you're not paying for shipping twice, effectively.
Yeah. Uh, I'm going through this. Okay, so a few rumors. Apparently, there's a rumor of a bamboo UV printer. And also, I saw a video of a H2D Pro that apparently was at some sort of trade show that was printing Peak or Ultim or something on a
Mm-hmm.
bamboo machine. It was like all black H2D. Uh, I'm really curious about that. It would. I understand that most people don't need it. I understand that it's a very niche market for anybody that wants, but it is cool because if it exists and it's true, it moves the bar.
What does peak print at? What chamber and hotta does it need?
So peak is like
Doesn't it need
the
like a 300-degree chamber, or is it?
no, it's like 100 and some degree chamber, but it needs a 200-degree bed and like a 450-degree
Four,
nozzle, I think.
450 nozzle, 200-degree bed, 120-degree temperature in the chamber.
So my question is, are the materials of a bamboo able to handle those at each of the components?
Mm-hmm.
This is it's an H2D Pro. It would be a different machine. It's not like they were printing it in an existing H2D. It was a purpose built new model. Um,
So it's not unheard of. Like, so there are people in the Voron community that have gotten to be able to print peak. I mean,
yeah,
we're not talking great production quality, but they're printing it, right?
yeah.
And I don't. I wonder because now we're at another level of temperature and temperature control, and that can bamboo do it at a price point that those people want to pay? Because you're right, it's not an everyday user product. It's more of an attempt to get into the industrial market. But would the industrial market trust a bamboo?
I actually think they would because of the name recognition. Because look at the printers that will do it. You're looking at a Voron, a Rise 3D maybe, and that's about it. They can do peak.
Well,
Trust
wouldn't
me,
you
those.
have like some of the more commercial brands, the industrial brands? What is it? God, what are those companies called? That one Stratasys? Can a Stratasys do it?
Not the Stratasys I've seen, but I could be as far as on the used market of it. What a new one probably could. The only one I know of that'll do it is a Rise. And some of the Rise printers will do it, and you can build a Voron that'll do it. There's not much to go 450 on the nozzle.
Yeah, Stratasys has a printer that'll print peak.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a company, I mean, printing peak is a pretty specialty product in and of itself. And if you're a company that needs that, are you going to trust a company like Bamboo, right? Because what when you buy, let's say you buy a Stratasys, you're buying a service contract. That printer, if it breaks, they're going to repair it, right? That's what you're getting with your service
Mm-hmm.
contract. Let's say that same company buys a Bamboo. Are you going to get the same level of service that you need if you need that level of printing?
So I think that there's a lot of companies out there that are are working in areas that they would want something that's printed in peak or right. And it's not a production part. It's the same way as, prototyping something in, you know, PLA to check the fitment of is this thing going to work in the situation? Okay, great. Now we're going to build an injection molding machine and do it. Uh and but you're not doing that on such a basis that or you're not making enough money to justify the cost of you know, a vision miner machine or whatnot. But you're doing it often enough that it makes sense to buy a machine versus like paying a company like Vision Miner to print your model for you, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
or you've got contracts that stipulate that it can't go any, that model can't leave, your facility. You can't contract somebody else to print it for you, right? I think it makes sense, especially with the amount of like startups in aerospace right now.
Yeah, but aerospace, you're going to have a problem because if you're attached to the government, they might be thinking twice about. There's going to be certain requirements on your equipment.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that this is going to. It says pro on it, so I'm assuming it's going to fall in line with like the enterprise bamboos, where there's an Ethernet port on it. You turn it into local only mode.
But
It's
we just
not
got done talking about the slicer here, right? And the slicer is going to be connected to the internet.
not necessarily. You can, I can download a slicer that and then you know
The slicer's
use it
offline.
when my internet's not out.
But that doesn't mean that these companies are going to trust bamboo for this. I'm not sure
No,
that that's government
but
approved.
there's definitely a market there.
I
Whether or
would.
not it's a huge market is irrelevant. And let's face it, how many of us buy a printer that has or build a printer that is way more capable than anything we need, right? Somebody, hobbyists are going to buy this printer because it exists.
I would agree. I would agree with that
Yeah.
statement. But I need all my printers. I
Yeah.
use I use their entire capability.
N plus one.
And I would agree. Hobbyists are going to buy this, and they're going to say, "Look what I can print," and then they're going to get the price tag for the filament.
Yeah. Well, they're never even going to buy the filament. It's just they're going to be able to brag on the internet. They're like, oh yeah, I print Peak all the time. See my printer? It's right there. They don't.
I'm looking. I'm
The
looking
only
at their
thing they
site
print
right now.
is a bunch of, no offense, Bob, they print a bunch of build over bot models and they sell them at the flea market on
So
their H2D Pro.
you scroll down, and the first thing it says is stable Ethernet connection, WPA2 enterprise authentication, Wi-Fi connection. I think this printer has actually been out for a while. It's just we've never really seen it.
Yep, it's entirely possible. I just saw it this week and I was like, holy shit, that's awesome.
You know what it is?
You're
'Cause
not
there's very
wrong.
few
A lot of people
resellers of this printer too.
are going to
Actually, no. I
basically
guess
print
Micro Center
PLA.
and
What's that, Bob?
What's that, Bob?
I'd say half the people are only going to print PLA that buy it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Um, but it's the
but
same
it
people
looks
that
like
are
it's been
working
out for a
PLGs
while.
all the time. Like I print ABS, the same people. That you find out they're only printing PLA.
Yeah. You know how I know that all of this is the case? It's because if I had that much money in my bank account, I would buy one and never use it for that capability.
So, according to AI, this printer has been out for over a year because supposedly it came on August 11th of last year.
Well,
That's when
AI
the
may not
H2G
be
came
right.
out.
I think it
I
was
think it's a
looks like
little
it was
confused.
released.
I think it's confused.
I
I think it's a
No,
hallucination.
actually, no. Actually, there's a Bamboo Labs blog dated August 11, 2025. Meet the H2D Pro for enterprise manufacturing.
oh, well, maybe. But
So,
regardless,
it
I just
is,
saw it today or this week. Thought it was cool. Thought I would share
yeah.
it. And
True, Alex, you build a Voron that had this capability way before you buy a bamboo. We know the truth. We see what's behind you. I don't see
I
a bamboo.
I built my first Voron before I could properly slice a model. So I might have built my last one before I could properly slice a model if the internet's to be believed. Um, um, I'm gonna build an E3 CNC. No idea how to use it, but I'm gonna build it anyway.
Does that bring us into our tabletop
Hmm.
CNC projects?
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and take that one because I lost my spot.
Okay, so see the so who is it? Uh, Timely or the Reddit Hobby CNC argues that the desktop CNC's bottleneck is not CAM, it's hardware. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, the discussion annual CAD. Let me see. Export. I have no idea what this is. You might have to read it, man. Um, I guess the argument is it's not the software that's limiting desktop CAD. It's the actual hardware. That there's no
Uh,
fourth axis or fifth axis. The toolhead path. I don't know what you got here, man. I thought I understood, but reading it, I do not.
It doesn't make any sense to me because it's incorrect. I get that that's what people are claiming, but it's software that's a limitation on fourth axis support. So
Doesn't Fusion do it though?
it does, but you got to pay extra. It's not the license
Oh,
that a lot of people have.
so it's the open source aspect.
so I think that this is just highlighting the fact that it's a back and forth, right? I've consistently said on this show that a lot of what is holding consumer CNC back is the fact that there's no easy to use software, and then other people are going, yeah, no, it's not the software. It's the fact that there's no machines that are, you know, at a price point that are consistent and reliable and safe enough for a consumer environment. And I think both sides are 100% right. It
I,
is not a this or that. It can be a this and that.
I think
It's
if
sticking
you're
to
looking
the
for a safe CNC, like consumer grade, a safe CNC, it does not exist. That's
By
just
the
not gonna.
nature of the thing,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it ever will. But, I mean, you're
no,
always going
it
to have
can't.
this grade. If it's actually capable of doing anything, it's not going to be safe. That's the nature of the thing.
Yeah.
Um, the same with lasers, technically. We actually don't have a safe home laser. Not true. That you can't get hurt. We never will because the nature of the machine is just not safe. You can be safe around it if you use your frame. The can our Carve is as safe as it can get, but you still have beds. Um, if you think it's safe, you've not been in a CNC shop to where when you saw something come on, it blew because it will go through a brick wall.
Yeah. So
Like it,
safe is a relative term, right? Anytime you've worked in a manufacturing environment, you will you will do everything you can to have something be safe. There's always a way to make it safer, right? This is what killed the nuclear industry, where it was like, you know, make it as safe as 100% possible. Well, it can always be safer,
it always has
but
a
at what
better.
cost, right? So,
You know,
3D printers are safe, but also they can be dangerous, right?
They
A
literally
carve
always have
error
CVD
can be
and
safe,
protocol. You
but
know,
also extremely dangerous. Both things can be true.
I worked on making machines safe. That was one of my jobs when I worked for Motorola as an automation engineer. Half of the job was trying to make it safe. And it always made a better idiot. No matter what we did, there was always a better idiot.
hmm
And we're not talking we're talking people reaching in a machine that could rip your arm off, repeatedly. We put guards and they'd figure out a way to get around the guards. I mean, there's always a better idiot. You cannot make a machine safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So it's acceptable levels of risk is what what you shoot for. Um, like I don't know. I think at the end of the day, a lot of it boils down to um, how much how much do people need a CNC? And
Mhm.
is that need,
Well,
does that need justify the risk and the cost, right? It's the
I think
same
the
thing
question
that,
is, do you need a tabletop DIY CNC? Right? Because once you go to say like a professional grade, I don't know what a professional grade, but you move up to one that was pre-manufactured, you're going to get some certain built-in safety features. But when you do need a one that fits on your desk, right? If you
I'm not saying that nobody needs it. What I am saying is that it is an evaluation that every person has to make.
I would agree.
Not that there is no need, just that it is you have to weigh those things out. Like, do I need this more, or is it more safe and cost effective for me just to send my thing off to send cut send? Or, you know, is this something I could just 3D print instead? Or is this something that I could just not own and be perfectly happy with it? You know,
I think we're
where
also forgetting
where
that
do you fall?
we're limited on build size on the desktop to the point.
You broke up, Ben. I can't.
I think that one of the things we're forgetting is uh, these build areas are going to be so small on desktop CNCs that most people cannot build anything useful. It's going to have such a limited or build capability that most of us are they're just going to sit on the desk. You know, we're thinking we're going to build these massive things out of these CNC machines, and you'll be lucky to build something to hold your glasses up. You know, it's not the capabilities just are too small for a house to put on your desk.
I could see that. I could also see that. I think Alex, you're probably right. It's going to be someone weighing the pros and cons of the safety of it, right? Because if your thing is not fixtured right, it's going to blow right through whatever little plastic you have as a cover.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then the other thing you got to weigh out with that as well is, yeah, I lost what I was going to say. It's gone. Go ahead.
Mhm.
You know, but I would agree that I think you would see more DIY CNC machines if you had the software, ergo the slicer, the toolpath generator, uh, that was open source and could be modified and could be added onto instead of relying really on Fusion to do it.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
where the
that's what I was
future
going to
is.
say. You got to weigh out whether or not you want to invest the time into learning how to do it.
And I mean, the costs, even on a desktop CNC, the costs are significantly more than the 3D printer. I mean, you need a bit to do everything, and you need
Mhm.
multiple ones.
Yeah. So a Carvera Air is like $2,000, right? Now, or let's take a Milo. Milo's a better example of this, right? A Milo's $1,000, $1,500, whatever. All right. Now, the Milo itself is only part of the cost of that, right? So then I've got to learn how to do it, right? I've got to build the machine. I've got to learn how the software works, all that, right? And maybe you know already, but if you don't, right? For me, let's say I value my time at $20 an hour, right? Pretty cheap, $20
Mhm.
an hour. But it takes me 100 hours to learn how to use CAD and CAM in some sort of usable fashion. All of a sudden, the cost to buy the machine is really low versus the cost of the time investment to even learn how to use it.
Yeah, but if it's a hobby, you'll do it. I mean, you did it with 3D printers.
Yeah, if it's a hobby, but if you're looking at it from a business point of view, or I
More
I
collecting.
could use that time, that 100 hours to 3D print a whole ass ton of flexi dragons and sell at the market and make money. Like, it's just another thing that gets weighed in the
It,
equation of, do I do this thing?
it does. What was that, Bob? You were saying something?
Uh, what does anybody know the software that the Milo runs on? Does it actually require Fusion to operate, or is there Normally there's a separate cam program for these for CNC, and different ones run different cams and all that sort of aspect. You have to because this is cam is a lot harder than 3D printing. You got tool path, and if your tool
Yeah.
path is wrong,
The
you got
Milo is just a CNC and ingest G code, feed it G code, and it's happy. So what CAD and CAM software you get it from, I don't think it cares.
it will to a certain extent. But yeah, CNC is an entirely different ballgame because you have to worry about how the chips fly or you break bits. I mean, yeah, you can throw a program at it, but you'll break a lot of bits. You'll break, you tear stuff up. And the material gets a lot more expensive on the CNC than it does even the 3D printer. You may get lucky and everything works, but you could also be thousands and thousands of dollars screwing around with your CNC machine.
Most of the stuff that I want to make, I could probably accomplish with a coping saw, a drill press, and a Dremel.
I do it all with send cut send. That's a very good for me.
Uh, but you really, I mean, you know what I'm talking about as far as the tool. I'm sure that they're getting better than what they were when I first got into it, but the chips have to actually, you got to cut in a pattern to where the chips can be picked out. You got a lot of other issues you got to deal with on CNC on
There's a
removable.
lot of
I mean, there are people that are
And
into this, and I personally, for me, it's too much of a money. I already got my money tied up in 3D printers. This is not something that I could jump into
yeah,
personally, and
yeah.
I have
The
no
material
experience in
cost
it.
alone, right? The, you're trying to make your saber out of 70 75 aluminum. You got a decent chunk tied up into the aluminum on that, and one wrong move, and the thing's trashed, and your dog's dead
power,
because you threw it to your dog's head. Like,
uh, power blip could do it. It's where it could actually cause everything to just go haywire. Power goes out while you're feet cutting, bit slows down enough and sends your unit out, or your block of aluminum. That's all it takes.
so, uh, moving on, the print of the week. This is really cool. So, as you can see here in this picture, it's like a mesh. It's creator Sir Twitch a lot. Uh,
Funny name.
yeah, it's an excellent name. Um, thought it said Sir Twerk a lot for a minute there.
That's funny too. Both are funny.
It was like Millwright. Um, uh, uses like vase mode, and so this is pretty cool. Speaker covers, cosplay, filters, all sorts of stuff. Really cool technique. Um, people are always creating new ways to. What is? What are you doing? Oh my god! Did you make that ridiculous Jello cake? Um, yeah, people are always finding new things to do with 3D printers and new ways to use them. That's pretty cool.
I could see it being printed out of something like TPU or something like that, and using it as for the eyes of costumes and stuff, so you can't see their actual eyes. I don't know if is it flexible? Could you use something like a PLA?
That's in it would be somewhat flexible, because you can see the screen through it. So base mode, yeah, I would say it's flexible.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking TPU because you might want it more flexible to be able to like sew it into something, or if something gets squished, it wouldn't break. But I don't know how flexible PLA would be at one. It was at 1 or 2 layers.
It looks like one layer, especially with base mode. I would assume it's one layer. You're not wrong as far as would it break? It's going to rip. One layer on PLA. I haven't done one layer of PETG, so I don't know how that would actually be strength-wise or ASA.
That might actually PETG might actually work out. If I'm thinking like a soda bottle, it might have enough give in it to withstand the sewing it to something.
That would probably be your most likely, but you would still. I'm not sure if you'd be able to hide the eyes. Again, you'd have to play with it. I'm sure it's going to have some interesting characteristics, uh, but PETG would probably be more durable at one layer than PLA.
I'll just have
So
to wait. We'll have to wait for some crazy cosplayers to do it.
Mm-hmm. Alex, we cannot hear you.
they might be
I,
talking to his family.
I muted the call because the girls were all yelling and screaming.
Doing girl
Um,
stuff.
yeah, Maker World's 3MF gate becomes part of the Mesh story. The Mesh creator said Maker World required a bamboo compatible 3MF, forcing installation and recreation of settings despite not owning a bamboo printer. Commenters praised the open sharing, but used the moment to criticize repository lock in.
What are we talking about here? Oh, the
Uh,
3MF number 15.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to use the bamboo slicer to upload 3MS to bamboo as a Makeworld manager.
I mean, goes
So,
back to our previous discussion, right? Of the
Yeah.
walled garden.
I I do not understand the logic that the logical leaps a company has to make to think that a community founded on open source is ever going to go along with a
People will.
we're going to force you to choose. So newcomers to the thing, yeah, probably. But like why keep making such blatantly anti why move so
You
hard
know
against the
why.
people that made you
You know why. Come on, this is not rocket science, man. It's
it
money.
worked.
I I get that, but Jesus, what do they think that they're ever going to be able to force every other company out of business? Like, is that what they think they're going to
Yeah,
be able to manage?
yeah. It's a race to the bottom, man, and they got the biggest pockets, right?
Get it.
I have had teachers come to my house and say, "Oh, I love the bamboo because I can just put print on my phone and it prints it." And that's literally like 90% of the market of 3D printers just wants to hit print. And if
I
they make it the easiest, you know, that's what they're going to do.
They've already got it to where if you take a slice file from Makeworld, a lot of times if you open it up in Orca, all the settings are all uh, by default it would fail. I mean, it's already the case. So
I have been preaching to people forever. Don't use 3MFs for stuff. The only time I see any value to them is if you went out of your way to paint a model that isn't split into parts and you want the painted version of it,
Yes,
right?
I see that. I would agree.
But outside of that, and even in that, do not use whoever's it was print settings. Or if you do, at least double check them. Because holy shit, do people upload 3MFs with some of the dumbest print settings I've ever seen in my life.
But
yeah,
you
I
know
think
what?
online
Most
the default.
you guys
I
have
mean,
to remember that this group of people, us talking here, people listening in chat, we are like the DIYers, right? So we're like a small portion of the market. We aren't your standard user. The standard user wants to hit print and wants to see their crystal dragon, right? They want to go on, they just want to get a model, put the filament in for the color, and hit print. They don't want to understand the print settings. They don't want to understand the machine. They just want their plastic. That's the majority of the market. And
It
while we,
is. It is. I I don't know.
And then they
Share
want to rush all
share
to
this
like,
podcast out to all of your friends that are 3D printing stuff that just want their bamboo printer to work. Share this podcast out to them. Okay, it's
and
important.
most of these 3D printers that are out there, right, are just sitting in dust,
Yeah.
right? So they buy their printer, whatever brand it is. They'll use it for a couple months, and then it'll sit to the side.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
keep telling people all the time. There was a thing I read it several months ago now, but it's still relatively current. That the average 3D printer never uses more than two spools of filament in their entire time 3D printing.
that sounds a little low, but I could see it.
A lot of it's probably still skewed by people that bought Ender 3s and couldn't figure out how to make them print. But
I
yeah, but
still
even
run
then
it.
they,
I run into
even
that talking to people.
even at that, I knew a lot of people at work that even some of the engineer guys that bought 3D printers, printed a couple toys, and got bored with it. It's like, oh, it prints it. I've got my Rocktopus, I've got my Rock Lobster, and that's it.
I mean, why do you think I started a nonprofit, man? I got bored of printing other things. So it's like, what do I use them for? So I could see that people
So,
just
I mean, a lot of people either never figure it out or get bored with it. If it wasn't for the fact that I like building stuff, I would have been that person. When I bought my first Ender, you know, I think I bought two rolls of filament, figuring that I would never use more than that.
I think we've
I
all
bought
had
it
that
figuring that
idea.
in in a month it would end up sitting and collecting dust. I figured I'd make a battle bot and that would be the end of it.
but
So I haven't made that
also
battle bot.
the reason we think it's low is some of us run hundreds and hundreds of rolls of filament through our printers. So that's why we think the number's a little low. Not for if you went with the mean number of it, to where okay, there's so many people that do so little rolls and they're just counting people. I get it, but
Yeah, it's
for our
not how
whole
many
room,
rolls of filament have gone through the. It's the average person who buys a printer, right? So the fact that I've used 10,000 and Rest's only ever printed 1.5 rolls of filament, I think he said the other day.
That's all I've
Um,
ever done, man.
the
It.
average is still 50% ever used less than two rolls of filament, right?
yeah, that's what's throwing everybody off. Is like we think, oh, I've run
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of rolls, which I'm sure a
Yeah,
lot of
so that
people.
offsets, 100 people. No, it doesn't. It offsets one person. The statistics are fun. Um, anyway, with that said, we've run over. Guys, thank you very much for coming on, joining Reth, Build Overbot, Jonathan, Maker Millwright. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, follow, consider becoming a channel member. Uh, you know, buy shirts. I've got a version of this. Um, yeah. Uh, and do I said it jokingly, but absolutely share this podcast out. Right, I know a lot of you are on Facebook groups and stuff like that. Share it out. Uh, it'll help somebody. I promise you,
Mhm.
it'll help somebody. Um, outside of that, guys, have a great weekend. We'll be back here tomorrow at 5 p.m. for regular live stream.
Bye.
Doesn't matter, everybody.
Good night.